So now I know you also talk about Web 3.0, how, you mentioned we're on Web 2.0 and then now there's a Web 3.0. So what does that mean to us and how are people using that?
So, so Web 1.0 was mostly about like just looking up information online. So we
Mhm.
were like, like pages, and we would, you basically like search for stuff and look it up. It was just like basically pages of data.
Mhm.
Like Web 2.0 is more about the communication, like the social media, Twitter, Facebook, being able to talk back and forth. The users put out most of the content.
Mhm.
The first Web 1.0 was like the most of the companies put out the information. Web 2.0, the
Mhm.
users put it out, right? So Web 3.0 is more about decentralization, right? Is that like right now, for example, Instagram, most people go through, you have to go through Instagram to be able to use social media, right?
Mhm.
Instagram is the central power. They're the ones that control everything. They
Right.
can boot people off if they want. So they can do whatever they want, delete pages. And that's happened a lot.
Mhm.
So that's centralized. Decentralized is when the users not only put the content out, but the users also have control of the systems, the
Mm.
platforms.
Okay.
Right now, Instagram has control of the platform, but the users put out most of the content. But
Right.
Web 3.0 is, but the users have control of through just decentralization, have control of the platform and also put out all the content.
Okay.
So that's where we're moving towards, is that decentralization of those platforms.
And how does one like access that? Like how would I put out content on Web 3.0 without Instagram, without, anybody else?
So that's how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin is
Mm.
decentralized. So
Okay.
everybody all over the world runs what's called nodes, like mining nodes, right? So
Mhm.
that means that each person, I mean, for more or less, they have a small part of the system all over the world, right?
Mhm.
So Bitcoin is no third party running Bitcoin. There's no the central power running it. It's completely decentralized. So it's a platform in which we can exchange money back and forth that's decentralized, that nobody owns, nobody controls.
Mhm.
So that's what the entire web will be like in maybe 10 or 15 years. The whole web will be like that.
Mhm.
To where like it'll be a platform, a social media platform that's decentralized. So we'll all be incentivized to like just control, like you just have a small part of it running on your computer.
Ah,
And
okay,
it'll be
okay.
thousands and thousands of people all over the world to do that. So you'll get some tokens or you'll get some crypto
Mhm.
just to run those nodes all over the world. So we'll all be able to take pieces of the profits. We'll all be
Mm.
able to be able to contribute, and we'll all be able to be part of the platform.
Wow. It sounds incredible. Like, I mean, it's really hard to conceptualize how we would all be, taking part of this and playing a part of it. So, what if someone doesn't know any of this and is not participating in this? Is this like a very different life? Like, how do you envision all of this shaping the way we live? This may be a little bit deep, but if you have an
No,
opinion on it. Mhm.
the thing about most people is that most people probably won't take part, like Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Most people just send Bitcoin and receive it. They don't take part in the actual like platform or the
Hmm.
nodes and stuff. Those are only more technical people that do that.
Hmm.
So it'll be like you don't have to like be part of the platform. You can still consume it.
Okay.
Like most people consume Bitcoin, but like I don't run a node yet. I'm gonna run them, but I don't run them yet.
Okay.
And I use Bitcoin every other day. So you don't have to be part of that decentralization of the platform, but you can't. It's not about like us all having to do it. It's that we all have the ability to do it,
Mm.
and it's decentralized. So that means that nobody has the power to like reverse transactions or do anything like that. So it just gives more power to the people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what makes you so like fired up in like sharing this information? Because you share a lot of stuff. You
I
talk
mean,
about this
I
all the
just think
time.
it has the power to. What'd you say?
No, no, no. I was just saying you talk about it all the time and you seem very passionate about it. And so what has you so fired up in sharing it?
I just like I really just like the power of cryptocurrency. It's changed my life a lot.
Hmm.
Being able to see it early, and I know it has the power to change people's not only their wealth but also their mindset.
Hmm.
And the ability to create wealth. And it's one of the things that like because it's decentralized, because it's like Bitcoin was like created for the people.
Hmm.
Traditionally, I think that like the banks and elite and the way that the financial system is set up is stacked against us.
Hmm.
It's stacked against like people that are already rich, right? It's very
Right.
difficult for somebody in poverty to become rich. Now, once you become rich, it's easier to become richer,
Hmm.
but it's hard for you to go from that first step. It's almost impossible, right?
Hmm.
But it can be done, but it's very, very difficult at first. And then
Hmm.
after you get past a certain level, it's easy after that. But But that's what I'm saying is that crypto gives you an avenue to do that. That's not doesn't have all those blocks and doesn't have all that regulation. That doesn't have all those rules against you. Because once it's so new and two, it was built with that way to allow people to have access to things they never had before. Like anybody can create a token. Anybody, like I say, anybody can create an NFT. This is never possible before. If you go back 15 years ago, there's no way you could possibly ever just create a crypto out of, I mean, not a crypto, but a currency out of nothing.
Right.
It was impossible, right? But now we can do it in like 30 minutes. You create your own crypto or your own currency or your own NFT, you know. And like before, like to create something similar to an NFT back in the day, you had to have a whole team of lawyers to do it. Now we can just create these stuff, you know, instantly, and they're defendable in court.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest, I guess, draw for me is that it seems like it's a way, like you said, to level the playing field. Like, because the banking system and all that stuff was created when no one knew it was going on. No one knew that this type of thing was a thing that was going to make, you know, families very rich. So now everyone is really at the ground level and can actually take part in it for the most part. And that's the really exciting part is that it's going to level the playing field across the board for everyone.
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I guess I'm so passionate about it is that it's just, it's so many people can just do so well, especially, and it's not goes past just investing or learn about it, is that even the technology part is so new that almost anybody, if they put their mind to it, they can become experts in it in 2 years. It's only like, to be honest, like the blockchain development and all that stuff didn't start until 2015.
Okay.
So I mean, the most expert people on the world only got 6 years experience.
Wow.
That's the most you can possibly have. That means you started day one when it came out, and that's the most you can have. So that's what I'm saying is that if somebody got into it now, a young person or a person that, you know, and they learned 3 years, they got half as much experience as the biggest experts in the world. You know, it's like, it's not like, it's so new that people, and it's new cryptos coming out all the time that you can, like the big ones too, that you can get in and learn about those early. You're an expert in that. There was an article about a woman on CNN, I think 2 months ago, and she quit her job 2 years ago, and she was making $80,000 a month consulting on blockchain projects.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because she learned 2 years ago and just put all her effort into it. And then they pay like $400 an hour for blockchain consulting now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, because so few people really truly understand it, and it's not that many people on Earth that actually like can do it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you provide consulting to companies or?
No, because I have my own company and we write blockchain software projects. So between that and Instagram, I don't have time really to do it. But I get asked all the time. I don't have the time right now.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your company?
So our company's called Quant Index, and we develop what's called emerging technologies. That's crypto and AI, artificial intelligence. So we got 2 projects out. One's called Hire Match, and that's a cryptocurrency for the recruitment industry.
Oh, okay.
So we've been working on that for about 2 years. And then we got a couple other apps that are coming out that are related to AI and cryptocurrency. So I spend a lot of time with that too. So I'm kind of like, you know, I don't have a lot of time to do this.
Yeah.
Stuff, so.
And so you're immersed in the space. You got to know the space. And so it just allows you to
I was at the blockchain conference, yesterday and today.
Okay.
I just got back this morning. Yeah.
Awesome.
On Monday and Tuesday. And
then this conference is for just people who want to understand it or people who are already working in the space?
It's for everybody. It's mostly people. It's a lot of investors, young people that just started, and there's a lot of also technical people there. It was about 2,000 people total.
Okay, wow. And it's an annual event.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones.
Okay. So one thing I wanted to talk about before we sort of end things here today, I wanted to talk about the digital real estate and how that is becoming, you know, a new thing. Like, how does one take part in digital real estate? What is it exactly? And how do we, you know, not miss out on, you know, buying Fifth Avenue or whatever it is?
So the digital real estate is the concept called the Metaverse, right?
Okay.
Concept of the Metaverse has really been out for like 20 or 25 years. It started in the 90s. And if you watch some 90s movies, you actually see some beginnings of it. There's one movie called The Lawnmower Man, The Matrix. He's even in that kind of like that same school of thought. And it's like several movies in the 90s that the concept was actually termed in 1992. It was a book that was out. I forgot the name of the book, but that was the first time that word was ever used.
Okay.
So, and then during the 90s, it was like conceptual. And then around the mid 2000s, 2005, there was a game called Second Life,
Okay.
and that was like the first major attempt at a metaverse. And there's a documentary on Netflix called Life 2.0 that kind of talks about it. And
Oh, really?
I encourage a lot of people to look at it. Yeah, because
I'm gonna look at it.
there's a young lady on that documentary, and she was making like in the mid six figures, developing real estate back in 2005. And she was doing digital clothes. She was doing, and one of the problems she had, and this is going to be this is going to be like fit right into what we've been talking about, is that she built an entire empire on this app called Second Life, where people would go into and they would live, of course, their second lives. They would have jobs, they would meet friends, they would have real estate, they would rent houses, all of this stuff. And she made all this money, and all of a sudden, some other users came on, and they just were copying her stuff, like her houses and her shirts and her clothes.
Okay.
And of course, she can't make as much money because people are copying her goods and spreading them through the world. So NFTs would fix that now. Back then, because NFTs would say, she could say, look, this is mine. Nobody else can copy it because I have an NFT attached to it. But back then, it was just digital. Somebody could just copy it like they can copy a picture on a desktop or copy a file.
Right. Okay.
So she started losing a lot of her money, and she had to start over from scratch. And that was in the mid 2000s, right? So that game eventually it went away, and then the metaverse kind of went away. It got real quiet. Now it's coming back. Now that Facebook has jumped into it, changed their name to Meta. And now everybody's talking about it again, and the new iterations like Sandbox and Decentraland are out, and then the real estate rush is back on, right? To buy this real estate in these new places. But like I said, the concept's already been proven 20 years ago, almost 15 years ago, in that game called Second Life. So it's the way it is that they have these plots of lands, and each land plot is you can get a state or a parcel. And an estate is just a group of parcels. A parcel is a smaller part of an estate. And each one of these parcels is represented by an NFT. It's almost like a graph paper, right? It's like these little squares. And each one is represented by an NFT to show that you own it. So if I buy one, the NFT is registered as that I bought it on this particular day, and then everybody knows it's mine. So it's just like any other real estate, is that the closer you are to certain, landmarks, other people's houses or whatever, the higher the price is. The farther you are away, the lower the price is, and then it just goes up from there.
And so well, you said a lot there. I think that's fascinating. There was another game, I was trying to remember the name of it, where people would have their whole lives and build houses, and I can't remember what it's
World
called.
of Warcraft was one.
Warcraft, but there's one in particular. That's not the name that I was thinking of, but
The Sims?
Sims, yeah. Similar, something conceptually to that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's fascinating. And I always think about the Matrix. Like when people talk about this stuff, I'm thinking about the Matrix, where in real life they were hooked up to a machine, and they were just in this world living this whole, other life and having these real experiences. So it's fascinating. And I do believe that, that one day that's going to be what we're seeing in the near future. But I wanted to.
Yeah, and that's what.
No, go ahead.
That's what Elon Musk is working on. That's people don't understand about the metaverse, is that right now people say it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, to be honest, it doesn't. If I went back to the mid 90s and I said, hey man, I'm going to write an app so you can order food online, people would have said, how is that going to work? I mean, it wouldn't have made sense because of the technology at the time. But people that are looking ahead could have made a lot of money.
Right.
So it's the same thing now, is that if we look at the technology now, if you look at the metaverse now, the graphics are cartoony. That you got to put, you can put on a VR headset, but it's kind of clunky and all this stuff, and it doesn't make it kind of it's weird now. I'll be honest with you, it just doesn't seem it's what is this? But you got to remember, as time goes on, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be, first of all, the graphics is going to get way better. It's going to be photorealistic graphics, which means it's not going to be cartoon. It's going to be just like what we're looking around, photorealistic.
Okay.
As the processes get better, as the technology gets better, it's going to be real. Secondly, is that Elon Musk is working on Neuralink and all this technology that you put on a headset and it connects to your 5 senses.
Wow.
So all 5 senses are in the metaverse. Now it starts to make more sense. And then number 3 is that this is my opinion, is that over time, artificial intelligence is going to take over almost all of the jobs that we have, almost every job over the next 20, 30 years. So humans will be left with a lot of leisure time.
Okay.
So now if you put all those 3 together, the metaverse seems like a good place for everybody to be all of
To
a sudden.
be, uh-huh.
Yeah,
Because you're saying like, who's going to create the luxuries that we have here in life right
exactly.
now? Where, what are we gonna
Yeah,
do? That sounds a little scary.
yeah, it is. It sounds scary, but like a
Mhm.
lot of things do at first.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So just with the real estate, just to be clear, so like if someone wants to take part of this, because from what I'm hearing, it's somewhat of a frenzy right now, although there's not like that many people that really know and understand it. How does someone take part in buying a piece of real estate or seeking to buy something like that?
So you have to buy it in crypto, right?
Okay.
And each metaverse, there's not just one metaverse, there's several.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the biggest ones are Sandbox and Decentraland.
Okay.
So you have to buy these plots with their own currency. And one's sand
Mm-hmm.
for Sandbox and one mana for Decentraland.
Okay.
So you buy it, and you have to buy this currency, and you go in there and you buy the land with the currency. And then you can do two things. You can hold the land and hope the price goes up, or you can actually develop the land.
Mm.
But what some people are doing is that they're buying the land and they'll hire developers to build buildings, advertising, all this stuff on the land, and they'll turn around and resell it for a higher price, or they'll use it and rent it out. Or some people are like building they'll buy this land and build like billboards on it. Then they charge for the billboards,
Wow.
or they develop the land out so they can make money, either renting it out or reselling it at a higher price.
Wow. So just like in real world. So it's like you get in on the
Yeah.
real estate game, advertising game, like everything that there is to be made money to make money with in the real world, you can be in on that in the metaverse now.
Exactly.
Wow. That's insane. All right. So just like if you were you woke up in a nightmare, right? You didn't know any of this stuff. How would you get started? Like what would you tell someone to get started if you had to start over?
I would tell people to start with understanding the blockchain itself,
Okay.
because that's where all this stuff's going to happen at. You have to understand the blockchain. It's not hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can go online, just look at easy explanation of blockchain. Just make sure you understand that part of it. Once you understand that part, everything else makes sense. You understand how NFTs can work. You understand how the metaverse can work. All these things you'll understand a lot easier once you understand how the underlying technology blockchain works.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would just slowly learn more about it. I would learn after I learned about blockchain, I learned about NFTs. Then I would move on and learn about the metaverse. So I would do it in that order. I would learn about the blockchain first, NFTs second, and then start learning more about the metaverse, the land, and what makes it valuable, what makes it not valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the three places I would start.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Armando. This was like very good information. I feel like I'm getting clarity on what's going on. So how can people find you if they want to, just learn from you or take part in what you have to offer?
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, Tall Guy Tycoon. I'm on Instagram, YouTube right now, LinkedIn. So it's all the same name. It's TALLGUYTYCOON.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I
All right,
appreciate
you're welcome.
having me on.
Of course.